Hello everyone. It's James again. And today, I want to talk about the marriage license. The modern marriage license. As I've made a few videos recently talking about some of the social ills in our society surrounding marriage. And what people do that is just sick. Men and women both right before they get married. And while talking about this, I mentioned, as I've mentioned before, that because there are so many dangers in signing a marriage contract, especially in this day and age for the man, that it's something you might want to think twice about before you do. And how because of this modern way we have marriages and divorces. The family unit is in a tailspin as we speak. And no one in the mainstream is addressing this problem. And when I say such things, now, there are some ladies that might comment on my videos they have misgivings about dealing with a man that doesn't want to sign a marriage contract because of their religious upbringing. And I will say, the few ladies that posted such questions and made such comments, I want to say, I thank you. I thank you for posting the question and your misgivings in a nice and respectful way. And always being willing to see facts when presented. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about facts and looking at these facts with a clear set of eyes. Now first, I want to say, I too was always taught that marriage was something you did if you were a believer in God. And the times we engaged in living with the person we were loyal to, we were somehow doing something wrong. But the fact of the matter is this thinking was something that was told to us by a pastor, a priest, and our society. Wait. Don't these people give us information straight out of the Bible? No. Not always. Oftentimes what we learn in churches today come from the government because the churches want to be able to keep the money you give them every month. Money, I might add, that is tax-free for them. Now, do I believe in marriage? Yes. 100%. But what I don't believe is signing an agreement that allows the state. Now listen to this very carefully. An agreement that allows the state jurisdiction over one's relationship, household and children. And such an agreement never existed in the Bible. Many marriages in the Bible were either verbally done, where a man asked a woman to be his wife. She said yes. And that was that. Or a man talked with a woman's family. They signed an agreement amongst themselves. Sometimes the family gave the man money or cattle to take their daughter. Or the man gave the family of the woman he was marrying money and or cattle. And all of this just depended on where they were from and various other factors. So were there agreements? Yes. But nothing where they walked up to the state courthouse and asked for a license where the state was a third party in the marriage. That never happened. But, my pastor said. My priest said. Well, let's look at facts. Per Wikipedia. If you search for marriage license, and once there click on the history hyperlink, and you will see that it says, for most of Western history, marriage was a private contract between two families. Until the 16th century, Christian churches accepted the validity of a marriage on the basis of a couple's declarations. If two people claimed that they had exchanged marital vows even without witnesses, the Catholic Church accepted that they were validly married. Some states in the U.S. hold that public cohabitation can be sufficient evidence of a valid marriage. Marriage license application records from government authorities are widely available starting from the mid-19th century. Some are available dating from the 17th century in colonial America. Marriage licenses have been required since 1639 in Massachusetts, with their use gradually expanding to other jurisdictions. Very interesting, isn't it? I bet they never taught you that one in school nor in the church. But most priests and pastors that teach at their church bank on the fact you and everyone else won't do your due diligence to read the Bible and look up things such as the history of the marriage license, to find out they didn't really exist in the Western world until a few hundred years ago. Now yes, there was some sort of version of this in the United Kingdom in the 1200s. But still and yet, This wasn't something that people put into practice until more recent and modern times. And one has to ask, why? Because in the Bible, a man could divorce a woman by saying I divorce you 3 times. There was no court. He mostly took the children and kept his money. Now there were times rarely the woman took the child and the man gave her a few pieces of silver and gold and never talked to her again. Now that being said, since we know how we are married today has nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with how people were married and divorced in the Bible. Why do people still say, well, I have to get married? Meaning signing a state agreement giving the state jurisdiction of your relationship. Because I'm religious? Why do they do this? Because it's a game of follow the leader. It doesn't matter all the facts in the world are presented. All that matters is what did the priest or pastor say? And what does society say? Now I will mention the women that asked about this in my comment section. They were and are very open to hearing this message. So that lets me know there are some people out there that have eyes to see and ears to hear. But to these types of ladies out there, this is the reason why men aren't marrying anymore. Because they've woken up to the fact it's not biblical. And there's a chance harm can come their way if they sign such a dangerous document. If a man catches his wife cheating on him, he can't say I divorce you 3 times and be done with her. No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that. In most cases. Not all. But most cases, if such a situation were to occur with a man catching his wife cheating on him, she can make up all kinds of stories against him so she can save face and keep her honor. And he gets destroyed. Kinda sounds like narcissistic abuse, doesn't it? Then she can take his house, his pension, his vehicles, his children, and get child support and alimony. Now why on earth would a man want to sign a document that has no biblical basis? That could ruin his life? You see, in this world it's often talked about how men die earlier than women, and how men commit suicide at an alarmingly higher rate than women. But that's all they say. They don't dive deep into the hows and whys. This is much like when a horrible thing happens, like some crazy kid with a gun shows up in a public place and does the unthinkable. No reporters want to ask the hard questions. This wasn't a common thing that happened, let's say 20 years ago. But now it happens all the time. Let's look into why. Instead they use it as a way to try to take your freedoms and take your rights away from you. Well, when they report that men are more likely to die earlier than women, and men kill themselves at a higher rate than women, they talk about it almost in a proud way. As if to say, women are stronger than men. See? Instead of, wow, this is a big problem. We must figure this issue out. Well, they don't do that because they know what they will find. And that's more times than not. When a divorce or relationship between a man and woman ends, the man more times than not is forced into poverty. They lose their rights to see their children. They are forced out of the home they bought with their hard-earned money over false allegations. They have to live with the fact some strange man is around his child and sleeping in his bed with the woman he's still legally married to. And guess what? The courts let it all happen. Now occasionally things go in the father's favor in such situations. But it rarely does. Thus, due to the stress and strain of worry, depression, and financial hardship, many of these men become at risk for heart attack and strokes. I speak from experience because this is what took my father's life. My father fought in court for my brother and myself, as I've mentioned before. My mother made every false claim against him that you could think of. And here my mother is a complete mentally ill narcissist, who has never had a job a day in her life, has the education of a 3rd grader. And I'm not joking, and nor am I being mean when I say that. But yet, the courts were siding with my mother. So much so, I believe my father's attorney, who was his friend as well, recommended to him he stop fighting and let her have us. Because he wasn't going to win. And the new claims she was making was going to drain him financially if he continued to fight. So he did. He gave up. Yet as I've mentioned before, he would drive by where we lived, and sit in his car for a few minutes to watch us out in the front lawn. And then he would drive away. A couple of years later he died of a heart attack. Go figure, right? You see. I think there should be fairness in relationships, where women aren't held in a bad situation. But I don't think men should be held in a bad situation either. You make an agreement with each other and or their family. And that's it. If a divorce happens, you uphold with what's in the agreement. If you don't want to uphold to the document that you signed, then and only then is it brought to court. I believe this would bring back the family unit. And those that aren't serious about marriage would have nothing to do with such an institution. And the narcissists that dare enter in such an agreement, you would find it would be a lot easier and a lot less painless to escape a narcissist spouse. No matter it be a male or female narcissist you're dealing with. We need to understand something. For one, the marriage license was created so the state could have jurisdiction over you, your family, and your children, where they didn't have that before. And the best way for them to sell it is to put it under the name of religion. And to get it to where everyone is doing it. Because no one wants to be the odd man or odd woman out. Oh, you just signed a personal document with each other. That's not a real marriage, your so-called friend says to you. Oh yeah? Who says so? Your church and the state. Please open up your Bible and find for me where I must give the state the ability to take away my children and give you all of my money if the relationship ends. That's right. It's not in the Bible. But no matter how much some of these people see such proof, they will look at you with that glazed over look, and will continue to try to shame you back into the matrix. I will tell you what. These social engineers know exactly what they are doing and have been doing this to us for a long time. And it's bit by bit. They don't change everything all at once. It's like the frog boiling in a pot of water. They just turn up the heat little by little. Bit by bit. And now we turn around and look and find relationships are a mess. Children are a mess. And no one wants to go back and look at the breadcrumbs showing how we got here. If we did one thing, and that was reform or fix up what legal marriage is, that gives the state much less, and quite possibly no rights at all in people's personal relationships, and people could get married like they used to, you would find most of what we see today. With all of the chaos, adultery and killing would dramatically drop. But right now marriage and divorce is a lottery system. And that lottery system, it's almost a lock. The children are going to grow up without a father and mother under the same roof. But no one cares. Well, I shouldn't say no one. But you know what I mean. That's why I said in the last video. If you are a woman and you meet a man that loves God, and he doesn't want to sign one of these crazy documents that could ruin his very life, I would think twice before you give up on such a man. And if you are a man and you meet a woman that at least understands such agreements are dangerous for you, then you may have a place with this person you might be able to build something with. Now, I want you to know, though I talk about such topics, doesn't mean I don't talk about general narcissism topics. Because I do. I have. And I will in the future. But every now and again, these things come up and I know it's right to address. Because the reason why narcissism and narcissistic abuse happen to you and me is because society has made it taboo to talk about. Well, I have news for you. The basic way that men are treated in this society. And again, this isn't to say that men aren't bad as well. But the basic way, and the acceptable way men are treated in this society, or in the Western world, is without a doubt narcissistic abuse. And I'm tired of not seeing it addressed. And when it is addressed, The shaming language comes out. And what that tells me is that it hit a nerve. And what is being said is right and needs to be said more often. I want you to know something. Those that control society don't want us to have healthy relationships. Because healthy relationships mean healthy families. And that's not what they want. They want broken families that produce dysfunctional children. So they can swoop in and take control of them. And indoctrinate them in their screwed up way of thinking. So they will have an army of people that will do whatever screwed up command they're told. And it's very, very sad. Well, that's all I have for now. I hope everyone's day is blessed. And until next time. Bye for now. And be good to yourself.